What's up, my beloved? Welcome back to my channel. This is Faith with Tracy, and I have a guest. I have a little guest, and his name is Bullseye. Hi, Bullseye. Yeah, I'm a bunny mom. Yeah, I have two sons, the 4-year-old and the bunny. Yeah, they something else. But I just wanted to come and check in with you guys. As you can see, the title of this video is called The Pain and Yes. This is a very, very personal topic for me. And I don't think it's a topic that a lot of people like to address. But I have grown so much and I have healed so much from all of the things that kind of had me bound that I can now speak about it. On my channel, I often, I refer to, me rededicating my life during a very hard time, during my divorce. But I've never went into, what God specifically, said to me and revealed to me about myself that caused me to have to make certain decisions. One of the things that God had revealed to me was I had 3 idols. One was my marriage, one was my job, and the third was my house. My marriage came before anything. My marriage came before God. What I wanted my marriage to be, what I thought marriage should be, was my top priority. I didn't consult God before making that decision. I wanted what I wanted. And that was it. And I was someone who was very determined that once I make up my mind to get something, then I was going to get it by any means necessary. And my marriage was one of those things. I didn't acknowledge God in all of my ways. I didn't allow him to direct me. And so I ended up getting into a marriage that his hand wasn't on. And because his hand wasn't on it, I had to work in my own strength to keep it afloat. For the first time, I could actually sit down and see where that decision drove me away from God. Even though I started going to church, even though we appeared to be, a good, godly couple, I was far from the truth. And I couldn't really see God working in it because it was never ordained by him. And I would pray prayers all the time, God, please help this marriage, help me, and just, crying out in desperation, hoping that God could find mercy on me to help me fix the situation that I got in on my own. And then that was my job. I got used to everybody knowing me as the customs officer. I think being an officer in the Bahamas is something that's looked up upon highly, especially as a customs officer. Um, besides the fact that they think we're not honest, um, but you have so many opportunities as a customs officer, and I prided myself with that job. I was I felt important, I felt like sometimes, to be honest, you felt like you were better than people who didn't have the same opportunities that you have, who didn't get the same favors that you have, who didn't get to meet the same people that you did. I was on a job working at one of the private airports. I worked at the private airports maybe about 7 or 8 years of my career, and I have met so many celebrities, and gotten chance to fly different places, and you know it I felt like I was living a life, and I felt like that was who I was. I was a customs officer, and if I wasn't that, I wasn't anybody. And that was the issue. And then it came down to my house. Having my own home was something that I always aspired to have. I worked my butt off. I saved so much money. I was the one dealing with every bank appointment, the two contractors, did like everything because I wanted this house so bad. But I was warned not to get the house with my now ex-husband. And now I'm reaping the consequences of that. So when it came time for everything to, hit the fan with the breakup, God kept sending me to the book of Ecclesiastes. And of course, if you know, Ecclesiastes talks about, there's a season for this and that, everything under the sun. And it talks about vanity, and I didn't know that I was that shallow. I didn't know that I was vain. I didn't know that I saw my worth in the things and the people in my life, except and I didn't see me for who God says I am, or for who God made me to be. I was defined by my marriage. I was a wife. I was a wife. Too bad if you weren't married. Too bad if you didn't find a husband yet. But I was a wife. A miserable one, but a wife nonetheless. I remember the Holy Spirit saying to me that in order for me to do this work in you, I'm going to have to strip you of everything that you got without me. Everything that was placed above me, I have to take. And at that point, I had already filed for divorce. The breakup was already inevitable. That there was no reconciling at that point. But that meant the house. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe like God is asking me to just wipe my hand off of this house that I literally just spent the last 2 years building. I decorated everything in my house. I picked out everything in my house, from the flooring to the light fixtures to after the furniture. I picked out everything in my house. And now you're telling me I need to leave it. Leaving the house was harder than leaving the marriage. As bad as it sounds. My mind was wrapped up in the things. My mind was wrapped up in the fact that in the Bahamas is like you are someone when you have your own place. And God had to remind me, you are so much more than that. You are so much more than that. I've made you for more than that. I made you for more than a house. I made you for more than being an officer. I made you for more than that. And your identity is not wrapped up in the fact that you're married. Your identity isn't wrapped up in the fact that you're an officer. In fact, in 2020, when I first started baking again, I didn't think that I would be doing this full time. And only up until maybe about 3 months ago, like I felt like the Holy Spirit like really convicted me about telling people, like when someone would ask me, what do I do for a living? I would instantly say, well, I'm a customs officer, but I also run a bakery. And God's like, why is the bakery the second choice? You have a talent that I put in your hand. You didn't even have to go to a class for it. You bake cakes every single day. You're running a business. You're taking care of your son with the talent that I gave you. And you're going to use that as the second choice? Because you feel like there is some type of prestige that is attached to the name of customs officer? And he's like, you have to stop that. You have to stop that. Because you need to be proud of what you do. What you do is amazing. And I didn't understand how prideful I was. That made me realize that I look down on people when they don't have a prestigious job. And listen, not even that being an officer is like that prestigious, but it was a lot better than a lot of people that I have encountered. And so it was my pride and joy. To the pain in my yes was leaving everything that I thought made me me. I thought the marriage defined me, the job, and the house. My heart needed surgery. But God, in His tenderness, in His gentleness, found it fit to show me that I was so much more. Saying yes to God can be painful. Especially when you have to give up the things that you work so hard for. But can I tell you, God is a restorer? I know what He's instilling in me at this point is what I need in order to appreciate the gifts, but not allow the gifts to define me. To chase after God's presence instead of His present. That I would seek the kingdom first and let everything come behind it. But I was used to chasing the things. I wanted the money. I wanted the man. I wanted a title. Instead of wanting the Father and a relationship with Him. And then I remember when God was like, okay, well, at the end of 2021, there will be no more customs for you. I'm like, God, the marriage gone. the house gone, and now my job. That was what I that that job is what got me the house in the first place. And I know that I left the house and I was like, yeah, okay, so when I go back to work after this break, then I'm gonna be able to save for maybe a year or two. And then on top of that, I'm baking cakes every day, so I'm gonna be working at customs and I'm gonna be running my business and I'm gonna make this money in no time and I'm gonna have my house back. And God's like, no. You think that's the only way for you to get anything? Are you relying on customs? Or are you relying on me? Haven't I sustained you through this entire process? Through the divorce, the death of your father, running this new business, and being successful? Customs had nothing to do with that. So when it's time for you to get your place again, you think that it has to come through the avenue of customs. You still don't trust me. And as soon as January 1st hit, God reminded me. He said, I told you at the end of 2021 there'd be no more customs. But see, at this point, I've grown tremendously. I've completely given up control. I have completely surrendered my life to God. And whatever He says goes. I know that He's a good, good Father. I know that everything that He does is going to be for my good and His glory. But I can't have a backup plan. I can't have a backup plan to His plan, saying that, okay, if His plan doesn't work, then I'll just do what I wanted to do in the first place. He said, no, you have to close that door. And so I did. Saying yes does not feel good all the time. In fact, most of the time it doesn't feel good at all. Because God will give you the forward instruction, but other than that, you really don't know. And I'm in a point, in this fasting period, from the social media and from the YouTube and from the TikTok, during this Daniel fast and just everything that I'm doing right now at this moment in time, I know is prepping me for where He wants me to go in this new year. And so I know that I don't have to know everything. I didn't know everything when He told me to take the leave from work. I didn't know that the business would run as smooth as it did. I didn't know that, I would have come back home and be at peace in a home with my family, with my mom and my brother. And we could raise my son in a happy, healthy environment. I didn't know that I was coming into all of that. I didn't know that I would get my joy back. I didn't know I'd have my peace back. I didn't know I would get gotten the opportunity to travel. I didn't know that I would have found a home church. I didn't know that I would have gotten baptized. I didn't know that my church would even trust me to lead a group for them. So it makes you wonder. If God can do all of that in 1 year, then I won't put the limit on Him. I was scared in the beginning. In fact, sometimes I'm still scared. When I wrote my resignation letter, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm actually doing this. But I did, in faith, in crazy faith, believing that God is who He says He is, and that He won't let me drown, not if I'm chasing after Him. So I'm embracing this new season. I'm embracing this new chance of life, and new singleness, new opportunities, new business, new purpose. So don't be afraid. The yes can be painful. The yes can bring you to your knees. But God has a better plan. But His ways are above our ways. His thoughts are above our thoughts. We can't fathom the things that He has planned for us. But we can't have a backup with Him. Surrender it all to Him and let Him direct you. That will be a decision you will never regret. Choosing Jesus has been the best decision that I could have ever made. And you don't have to go through a dramatic experience like me to choose good, to choose right, to choose best. So before you get married, choose Jesus. Let Him guide you. Before you open up that business, choose Him and let Him guide you. Before you do anything, choose Him. Because the fruit that is going to come from your yes with Him, it's going to be more than you would ever imagine. So I love you. God bless you. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification so that you can see when I upload. And I will see you guys. Well, me and Bullseye. Bullseye, you want to say hi? You want to say bye?